Well, we're joined now by Anita Bhadani, who is a campaigner with the Stop Trump Coalition. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Were you there today at one of the Scottish protests?
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, I was there today at the Edinburgh protest.
And can you paint a picture for us how many people were there and what were some of the main concerns that were being aired?
I think we had definitely a couple of hundred, close to 1,000, I believe, which was a great turnout for Edinburgh, especially because it was announced, the visit was announced quite last minute. And we really brought together a broad coalition of groups, all with their concerns about Trump. We had climate justice campaigners, Palestinian groups, Ukrainian groups, trade justice campaigners, disability rights, LGBT groups. And we all had our various concerns about Trump and essentially just the way that he's ripping up the democratic rulebook. And I think what really united all of us today and what has united this coalition and ordinary people turning out is that we don't feel that Trump's hateful and divisive politics really represent what people in Scotland feel. And we just wanted to use our democratic right to protest to basically get that message out there.
And as you've been speaking, there's a text that's come in from Alana, who is from Scotland, saying, if Trump is here on a private visit, why is he not paying for his own security? Why do we have to foot the bill? Was that mentioned by any of the protesters?
Absolutely. That definitely did come up. And it really does just kind of draw into the way his premiership has been defined by this confluence of big business and politics. He has come to Scotland on a personal trip to drum up business for his golf courses. And it's the taxpayers in Scotland who are paying the bill for this huge policing operation. And it's even taxpayers in the US who are paying for his visit over here. And I just really think it's quite worrying. It's quite anti-democratic in a lot of ways.
I was watching a video by Zoe Jardiniere, who was saying that what with Trump and JD Vance both visiting the UK over the summer and autumn, it feels like we've kind of become a holiday camp for MAGA, and particularly because of all of the chaos that has been sparked by these Epstein revelations, but it's actually the opposite, isn't it? It's the lack of revelations and the lack of transparency. It feels like maybe do Scottish people feel like Trump sees his golf course there as a place that he can escape to, and that's slightly egregious?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if people did feel that way. I mean, when his golf course was being developed, there was so much local community strife. I mean, he was trying to push for evictions to essentially further his developments. I mean, he's campaigning against wind farms, wind energy, which is such a big source of boosting our local economy is good for the planet. And it just really kind of strikes me as who does he think he is? Why does he think he can come here and make these demands? Even when he was making his resort, he sued the Scottish government unsuccessfully. And it's just really part of his bombastic approach.
What would you say to those people who would argue we may not like Trump, we may not like what he stands for, but we host allies here in the UK, not even allies, we host foreign leaders all the time. That's part of negotiation, that is part of leadership. It's just something that we have to swallow and do for our economy and for peace, I guess, and prosperity. What would you say to that?
I mean, I guess what I'd say is that we need to stand up to authoritarianism wherever we see it, no matter what leader it is. And being a elected leader doesn't give you permission to be able to rip up the rule book in that way. So I think it is fair that we're able to voice our dissent in that way. And plus, I would point again to this conflation of business and politics. I think that's a very strange nature of this trip. And also, I would point to the fact that he's also visiting the UK in September for a second state visit. And that's unprecedented in diplomacy. And I don't really see what he's done to deserve this kind of special treatment and for our leaders to be rolling out the red carpet in this way.
What about this comment from a resident near the golf course who says that these protests are just playing into Trump's ego?
Absolutely. Well, I think like at a time when Trump in the US is like cracking down on the right to protest, on the right to dissent, these like fundamental democratic rights, it's ever more important for people around the world, like wherever we are, to kind of stand in solidarity with like groups Trump is harming and use our right to protest, to speak out. And I think a major like feature of this protest is like protesting in solidarity with people across the world that he's affecting, from Palestine to the US to the UK. He's ripping up global aid. But in another sense, we're also trying to put pressure on our political leaders to kind of like get them to draw from the courage of so many of the amazing speakers that we saw today and really take that, and if they are meeting with him, in those meetings with him, actually just standing up instead of rolling over to his bullying.